Afriforum's head of legal. You know him, the advocate Gerrie Nel. He says he's worried about the charge sheet compiled by the NPA in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. He says he expected more people, including the person that's been referred to as the mastermind behind the killing, to be charged. The trial against the 5 men accused of killing the football star has been set to begin on the 25th of October. For more on this, joined in studio by our senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo, who was in court earlier. Ziyanda, good afternoon to you. I mean, it seems slowly we're getting closer to some form of justice here, but Gerrie Nel, who we know knows his way around a courtroom and a prosecution, is very worried.
Absolutely, and just yesterday, Afriforum's prosecutions unit, which is headed, of course, by Advocate Gerrie Nel, they initially wrote a letter on the 3rd of March to express concern about the manner in which the indictment has been treated. And their basis is to say that, one, not all those who should be in the dock are in the dock according to the brief that Nel has gotten from authorities, as well as the family's reassurances that they got from Bheki Cele when he visited the family on the anniversary of Senzo Meyiwa's killing last year. Now, in response to, the NDPP's office, because Nel directed that letter to Shamila Batohi specifically, as well as State Prosecutor George Boloy, they then responded, but then Nel is expressing concern, as I've mentioned, with the handling of the indictments, but also he says in this letter, and I'll just read here, that we are reliably informed that it's not only us that disagree with the current indictments and strategy, but that senior colleagues of Advocate Boloy are similarly in disagreement with the contention that there is insufficient evidence in the docket to warrant the prosecution of the mastermind. So it seems as though the NPA doesn't have enough evidence to link the so-called mastermind to the crime. Now, if you think back then to that mistakenly leaked document from the NPA that was asking for the investigator was soliciting the cell phone records of Kelly Khumalo, it brings into question then as to who the mastermind is and whether or not by the time the trial starts, which is in October, the so-called mastermind will be a part of those proceedings. I spoke to Nel earlier and I want us to actually listen into what he said.
We're very disappointed. You're correct, Ziyanda. We're not going to do, we've already started. We've written letters to the NPA yesterday indicating that we cannot understand why no other people were added to the charge sheet today. Because the matter has now been transferred on an indictment. Everybody has seen the indictment. I've read the indictment. In terms of the indictment, it's a robbery that went wrong. But if there's a mastermind, I mean, that cannot be the indictment. It's then not a robbery that went wrong, but it's a contractual killing. But what's very interesting, I've consulted with my clients and they informed me that in October last year, the Minister of Police visited the family. The Minister of Police then indicated that there is indeed a mastermind and also identified the mastermind. That was October last year. So from October till now that they haven't taken action is very surprising. But what I can also add, Ziyanda, is that I've spoken to the police, I've spoken to police management, I've spoken to the investigating team. They feel very strongly that they have a strong enough case. They briefed me and I agree with them. So it's very peculiar that we haven't seen somebody added to the indictment.
Ziyanda, I mean, this is a football hero, captain, national captain, murdered. I mean, this was a huge story here. His father became a famous person. Yeah. I mean, just the most incredible things. It had all of the sort of ingredients that make these stories. We thought that it was a robbery gone wrong. Kelly Khumalo's been through, the mill. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like for her to read tabloid newspapers on a Sunday. Now we have that there was a contract killing or something else going on. I mean, this completely seems to change the game. What we've understood about this has changed dramatically over the last few years.
Well, it depends on who you speak to, but remember when the suspects were going to appear for the first time last year, Afriforum's prosecutions unit held a briefing to say in no uncertain terms that this was an assassination. And to the surprise of all of us then, the following day, the NPA read out the circumstances of the case indicating that it was a robbery gone wrong, a botched robbery in essence. And this is exactly then the issue that Nel has with this particular matter. But he did admit earlier on that he actually hasn't seen the docket and that he's been getting briefings from police and authorities. Now, this is a significant point then, because you'll remember that even the family said that there have been two competing teams within the police service that are giving differing versions of what actually happening. They say that there's a team that was set up by Peggy Taylor to investigate this, which was set up in 2019, but there's also what they believe a corrupt group of cops that is deliberately trying to sabotage this case going ahead. Another point to then also look at is the fact that the accused, who consistently, when they appear in the dock, have said that they are being pinned for a crime that they never committed, and that today, actually, accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi, again said that his previous lawyer, because a letter was read out, to say that he will have different representation. And he said that his previous lawyer tried to force him to actually admit to the crime that he did not commit.
Gosh, it's an astonishing story in so many different ways. Yanda Ngcobo, thanks very much indeed. Really do appreciate it. Can you imagine?